Streaming countrywide on Prime Media Plus.
On DSTV channel 885 and across the city
On 567 AM.
So today's next interview is a little hard to categorize because it's not book club and it's not really TV club either. I guess we have to call it TikTok club because I want to introduce you to something called a vertical sitcom. And this is a new South African piece that has only aired on TikTok, but since it launched on TikTok in mid-July, it has already accumulated something like 5 million views from fans who just cannot get enough of the antics of 3 quirky housemates and the chaos of their intersecting lives. And to introduce us to their world and to talk about launching a so-called vertical sitcom, and if you don't know what that is, don't worry, you will by the end of the interview. It's a huge pleasure to welcome back to the show Emmy-nominated director Bonnie Rodini. We previously spoke to her about her feature film Good Life. I know many of you loved it. You may recall it swept the international circuit. It won awards at festivals all over the place, from Berlin to Toronto to New York to LA. And she is the driving force behind this new sitcom called Shambles. One of the stars is also with us in studio, and I'll introduce her in just a moment. But first, Bonnie, it's lovely to have you back on the show again.
Oh, thanks, Pippa. It's wonderful to be back. And to explain what a vertical sitcom is, about towards the end of last year, I started watching the space that was exploding or moving to the west, and it's been happening in the east for quite some time.
Okay.
Basically, where do we all watch our content? It's on our phones. And whether we're purists at heart with the film industry, we have to move with the times. And I saw a train leaving the station and I decided I needed to jump on it very, very quickly. A vertical drama is basically small micro episodes that you can watch on your phone of a drama. What's different about Shambles and my work is it's a sitcom. And it's probably one of the first sitcoms in the world, and definitely in South Africa. And we weren't sure if it would take, if people would warm to the idea of a sitcom rather than a drama. But as you said, in fact, we are now on 6 million views.
Oh, my word. Okay.
And I just grabbed a bunch of wonderful filmmakers, and I had based this on a book that I wrote in 2012.
Okay.
I could see that it lended itself well to micro format drama or sitcom. Wrote 6 seasons as quickly as possible. We jumped out, shot it, got the wonderful support of some of our best actors in Cape Town. One of them is with you in studio, Anati. And we shot it, and TikTok took it. And it just seems to have gone viral, and it's incredibly exciting.
I mean, I just love everything about the story, from the surprise sort of explosion of love for the project, but also to your speed at adapting and being nimble and saying, okay, if this is where the market is moving, I'm not going to move with them. I'm going to get ahead of it and offer them something different. Bonnie, if I'm understanding correctly, it's purpose-built for this platform. It's not like you took an idea that was an idea for a TV script and sort of adapted it for a small screen. The whole thing has been conceptualized for this particular format. Is that correct?
Well, it started as a book.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, I saw the potential for it to become a sitcom. So I wrote 1 season of it and then didn't put much energy behind it. And then when I was watching this micro drama space, I thought Shambles is the perfect vehicle for this. And then I had to teach myself the format. And the format is between 1 and 3 minutes per mini episode. And as you're watching, you'll go to the next episode, to the next episode. You don't realize you've gone to the next.
It's completely addictive. Yeah.
Yes, and then you hit pause, and then you can join it again after dinner, or, doom scrolling before bed.
Yeah. Bonnie, I watched a couple of episodes in preparation for this interview, and firstly, laugh out loud funny, especially for a Cape Townian. There is so much to relate to in these characters. But also, as you say, before you know it, you think, I'm just going to watch 1 or 2, and then suddenly that's 19 or 20 that have gone by. It's the kind of the TV equivalent of Candy Crush for Unashamedly. level 16,000 and something. So you could tell what kind of an addictive personality I have when it comes to this kind of content. But let's bring in Anati, who's with me in studio here. Now, Anati Godlo plays the role of Petri in this series. She's a UCT graduate. Some of you might have spotted her in Comedy Mixtape a little while back. And so glad to have you with us in studio, Anati. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to leave it to you to introduce us to the world of Shambles and the characters of Shambles broadly, and then we'll speak about your individual character. But won't you set the scene for us?
Shambles is about three housemates who just navigate the adult world, and life just happens to them. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. And I play Petronella, who is a boss babe, commercial producer. She doesn't take nonsense. She's very... I think at first you can think she's mean, but she's just to herself. You know, she knows herself, she's confident, but she's very loving. And it's always those kind of people, right, that are just, she's very loving. She takes care of her roommate, Anna, and then later on Finn joins them, and she becomes like the mother of this household, paying rent, groceries for my little children. She's like a big sister. And we just go through all these things in the show.
Listen, I mean, the bits that I watched particularly were around the recruitment of the third housemate. You had me in stitches. I mean, the process of this mixed bag of weird and wonderful characters and how they behaved was just absolutely delightful to watch. But no big spoiler alert, you settle on David Viviers, who plays Finn. And if that name sounds familiar to listeners, it should, because David joined us in book club a couple of years back talking about his amazing novel Mirage. But he is also, of course, a Fleur de Cup award-winning actor. You might have caught him in Black Sails. You might have seen him in Tali's Baby Diary, in Binnenlanders and more. He comes in as the sort of the third wheel into the house. Anati, tell us more about when we was talking about Finn and Anna, but let's start with Finn while we're talking about him.
So Petronella and Anna go through, a long list of potential candidates, but they just do not meet the requirement. And then Finn comes in, and he, at first, it's like, this guy has his inspector gadget stuff, and it's like, who are you? But he is the only one who notices our old roomie, Dan, who passed on. And we somehow felt like that was Dan saying to us, you can let him have my room. Okay. But there was only one condition. He had to keep Dan's survival kit box that was in his bedroom. It's very sentimental to Anna and Petri, and they like to dig in there. And so we were like, you know what? Because you can see Dan, you can live here.
You must be the right person to move into this room. Okay, so that's David's character of Finn. And then Anna, as you've mentioned, played by Angela Daytona Wu, who is really an emerging talent to look out for. She has studied in New York and quite a lot of work coming out this year. What's her character's dynamic like, and where does she fit into this trio?
Anna is a filmmaker who financially is not doing well at all. She is chronically exhausted, I would say, always napping, anyway, on the kitchen table under it. And she realizes that she goes to see a doctor, and they say she needs to get a shot of testosterone, but they give her a little too much. So she's navigating all of that with her hormones, on top of trying to get her next film out, and on top of being like my bestie from the age of 6, so I have to take care of her. Anna and Petri are really, really close. And at first you think, how did they become friends? Because Petri's so hardcore. And then Anna's just so sweet. Like, even when we're interviewing potential candidates, she's so lovely, to all the potential candidates sitting in front of us. But Petri's like, no, I can't. And a very sweet character, a dreamer, also trying to find love, but she's failing at it. It's bad. She's on these dating apps, and the guys that she shows Petronella, she's like, oh my word, this is looking hopeless.
Yeah, how is this coming up as a match for me? I want to just put it out there. If anybody listening has been following Shambles, tell us what you have thought and how you discovered it. Did you stumble upon it on TikTok and go down the rabbit hole? Has somebody recommended it to you? I'm really interested in hearing how you're engaging with this new-ish format of the vertical format, vertical sitcom. For those who've come in halfway through this interview, with us via Zoom this afternoon is Bonnie Radini, whose baby this is. She is an award-winning director that we have spoken to before about her big screen film work, but now this is a series produced and released entirely on TikTok in very, very short form episodes. It's called Shambles. And then with me in studio is one of the cast members, one of the kind of anchor cast members, Anati Godlo, who plays the role of Petri, one of the three housemates whose lives are in the blender of this series. Anati, what's it like for you engaging with this micro format, as Bonnie called it? Because you come from a sort of a classical acting background, if I could put it that way.
Yes.
At the same time, I know you've done radio work, you've done voiceover work, so you know stranger to in and out and do it quickly. What are the particular challenges of working in this format?
I think Bonnie really wanted like a fast pace in terms of dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time we usually get a bit of time to think about your next, line or the next beat.
Yeah.
But this one, the style of it is quite quick.
Yeah.
And so that was a little challenging in the beginning, but once we understood the rhythm of Shambles, it was just so easy to get into it.
Okay.
I didn't really struggle that much. I mean, I had great co-actors who made it so easy to fall into the world of these characters, and we just had a really good time. And it started to feel like we really were roommates, especially shooting at the house in Camps Bay.
Yeah,
literally kind of living in that space. We really, we just became roomies.
I love it. Bonnie, let's talk about scouting locations.
Back. And I got shut out for, sorry, I think my computer froze. But I'm not sure if you guys spoke about one of Anati's or Petri's favorite thing is to prank her roommates.
No, we haven't gone there yet. We have not.
And so, I'm doing behind the scenes Instagram, little short behind the scenes stories on my Instagram's Bonnie_Rodini. And tonight Petri catches Renal in real life, not only in Shambles, but in real life.
I love it.
But today we are posting how Renal tries to catch Anati back, which is loads of fun. So your listeners can maybe have a look at that because it's a lot of fun. And I don't know if you know this, but most of Shambles is based on my life. Every episode has something to do with my life, which is also rather strange. A lot of strange things have happened to me in my life. I was going
to say, you stole my next question because I saw in the show notes that this says it's inspired by true stories. So, I mean, you did mention the book is written back in 2012 already, so that's 14 years worth of life experience. And Bonnie, it's been a big, wild, beautiful ride of a life. Do you want to just give us a couple of insights into the kind of stories you've drawn on?
Well, the one that's very dear to my heart is, and I've written in... Finn is actually replacing their old roommates, Dan, because he has passed on, and Dan is my late partner. Oh. So I've managed to keep Dan alive in my life by bringing him and his spirit into Shambles. Another fun story is I didn't have work and my phone rang, and it was a British documentary company asking me if I could do a crime fix a show for them in Cape Town. I didn't know what I was doing, but I by mistake introduced them to real gangsters, and the gangsters started following us around and they had to flee the country.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the British docudrama episode. Gosh, the blind date in Namibia, not saying much, but I didn't go on a blind date in Namibia, and I'm crossing my fingers. And that's one of the final episodes in Shambles. But literally anything, it's based on stuff that has happened in my life or things that have happened to friends. And so you're not safe from me if you cross my path.
You have been warned, everybody. If you meet her, be very, very careful what you share of your past because it could end up on TikTok in the next episode. Bonnie, quite a few people are just really curious about this format and how you make it and are asking, how do you release it? Is it one episode per day, per week? How do you space them out? And also asking questions about how long it actually takes to produce an episode of that kind of length. Do you want to give us some insight into the process of actually producing it?
Sure. So we ended up shooting one full season, which is, it ends up being 68 micro episodes. TikTok wanted all 68 delivered at one time, which was quite tough. So we had to deliver them at one time, so they're available to the public in one go if you want to.
Okay.
So that's that. We took 18 days to shoot. 68 episodes is about 90 minutes of screen time, which is equivalent to a feature film.
Yeah.
So it's not bad, 18 days to shoot it. We literally did it on no budget. It was a wing and a prayer. All our locations were donated to us.
Okay.
It was just a wonderful collaborative spirit to try and test the waters and see if this is something that would work. And we're hoping we'll be able to then do season 2 and it'll get picked up by someone.
Okay, so 18 days, not bad, she says. Anati, that sounds like a whirlwind of a shooting experience. What was it like for you as actors?
I mean, one moment we're auditioning, the next you booked it, and it's like, we're going to start shooting immediately. And you're like, whoa. And it was around December, so Christmas was quite close, so it was around the corner.
Yeah.
And we were trying to really get those shots in the house as quickly as possible. And then I think I went back home for Christmas, or maybe on the 23rd, and came back on like the 3rd of Jan to continue shooting.
Okay.
So there are sacrifices that are made, less time with family, but you're doing what you love. And a project like this where the writing is so good, it's so funny. Yeah. I remember the first time I saw the script, I was laughing out loud, and a part of me was like, I have to play Petronella.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but man, the crew, the cast, everyone was just really lovely and just wanted to get the work done.
Bonnie,
have you explained why your name is Petri, Petronella Aka Petri?
I haven't, but I think maybe you should, Bonnie.
Well, it's Petri is dying to have a child, but she is struggling and she's trying the IVF route. So her roommates give her the nickname Petri, that she's trying to find love in the bottom of a Petri dish. But she has to stop smoking in order to do this. And Petri is struggling, and she tries many hilarious alternative methods to try and stop smoking.
Love it.
Which currently are not working.
She hasn't got a cigarette in hand in studio, I can tell you that much at least. I mean, Anati, it sounds like a really fun experience. How difficult is it when you're working with comic material to not break that fourth wall, to not corpse on camera and actually laugh at the character but stay in character all the time?
The amount of times that it was so hard keeping a straight face, especially with David, who plays Finn.
Yeah.
He is such a brilliant actor. He's quick with his comedy, but like it's very real, right? Because the camera needs to pick up that realness. And it was hard for me to not laugh because in him being so serious, it was just so funny. And there were moments where I want to burst out laughing, but you have to compose yourself to get the shot done. And then when, Bonnie would say cut, then we can finally laugh. But it was really tough. I mean, there's even a scene, as Bonnie said, my character struggles to have a child. So she tries all these different methods, hypnotherapy and ozone therapy, yoga. And there's this one scene where I think it was at hypnotherapy, and she's all sweaty, and there's this guy shaking things in front of her, and she tries absolutely anything and everything, but it's quite funny. And that scene, when we shot it, I could not get through a line without laughing. It was too good.
Now let's talk about how our listeners get to go and laugh at all of this. Bonnie, as we mentioned, TikTok is the place to go where you will find all of the 68 episodes available. Just remind us again what the specific address is or handle that listeners need to follow if they want to check it out.
Yes, it is a little bit. You can't just type in Shambles. So the best way to do it is to type in Rodini Films.
Okay. And
then Bonnie. So it's RODINI FILMS, Bonnie, BONNIE, and then you'll see Shambles popping up. That's the best way to see it. to find it. Yeah.
So you're on TikTok, you're typing in Rodini Films Bonnie, and then you're looking for Shambles. If you want to go down this rabbit hole, just be warned, as I said, you're going to think that you're tuning in just to watch one or maybe two episodes, and you'll look up an hour later and realize supper's going to be late, and all the other things you plan to do that afternoon are going to have to wait until another day. Bonnie, before we must wrap up, 6 million views already on TikTok, which is an amazing uptake. Are you getting interest in doing more of this work, or are you seeing other people going, hang on a second, something's happening here, maybe we need to catch this train already? Is that happening yet, or do you reckon it's going to happen?
Loads of South African producers have touched base with me. I'm sharing what I'm learning. It's a very new learning curve for everybody. We're learning as we go. And the comments from people on TikTok are, please tell me there is a season 2. Where can I see season 2? They're already using the actors or the characters' names. They're referring to Petrie. They're referring to Anna and Finn. They're quoting lines out of the sitcom. It's just loads of fun, and the response has been very overwhelming and rather joyful.
What a wonderful story to share. Bonnie, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on boarding this particular train on a really fun product. Shambles is the name of the vertical sitcom. I hope you now understand what that term means. Bonnie Rodini is its creator, and Anati Godlo plays the role of Petrie. It's been a joy having both of you on the show today. Thanks so much for popping in person, Anati. And to both of you, all the best. Can't wait to watch more of you. I suspect I'm going straight down the rabbit hole again after the show.
Thank you so much, Pippa. Thanks.
Great to have you with
This
us.
is a wonderful Friday, everyone. Take care.
Bonnie, thanks so much.